2, 1. Thunderbirds are go. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. We're doing Thunderbirds.
Boo Foons, mystery investigators.
Definitely not going to use all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love Thunderbirds. I hope this episode's going to be full of explosions, just like in Thunderbirds. We're going to blow stuff up. We're going to blow stuff up.
And we're going to wobble our arms around.
That's what we do anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. Welcome to the Boo Foons Mystery Investigators. I'm Dan.
I'm Steve. Sorry, I completely forgot then who I was. I was just thinking of Thunderbirds.
Would you like a name badge to remind yourself who you are?
I wouldn't be able to read it though without looking. Oh, no, I could, because my boobs are that big now.
And today we are looking at Thunderbirds, but sadly not the Thunderbirds that are on Tracy Island.
Oh, I'm going. I'm off.
Okay, bye. So now it's just me and you, listener. Isn't that Steve, you know? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I can hear you really. I've still got my headphones in.
We didn't say anything. that was all them. It wasn't me. I didn't say anything.
I don't trust them. Their eyes are too close together. Don't trust them. I don't trust anybody who listens to our show.
But we're actually talking about the Native American Thunderbird, which is a mythological bird-like spirit.
So it's not a real bird then?
Well, not a real bird. It's a mythological bird. I will get out there. There is actually a link to the Thunderbirds from Jerry Anderson.
Yeah, we'll link to it. Anybody who doesn't know what Thunderbirds is, you can enjoy it from whatever we're going to post.
Well, if you didn't know, Thunderbirds by Jerry Anderson is named after a World War II airfield that was for pilot training in Arizona, which was called the Thunderbird Field. And the Thunderbird Field was named after the Thunderbird that we're talking about today.
Really? Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah. So, in a roundabout way, the Thunderbirds are named after this Thunderbird.
So they do exist.
And you know how when we do the yokai, you like to say that the yokai are Pokemon?
Yes.
Well, Zapdos in Pokemon is based on the Thunderbird. So we are actually talking about a Pokemon today, in a way.
I've never played Pokemon.
I like Pokemon. That's how you get Pikachu on a bus. Pokemon.
Okay. I was hoping this bird was going to be based on a real bird, because I remember seeing once somewhere in a photograph that there was like some. It was obviously a bad photo edit of these cowboys with a giant raptor-like bird. Obviously somebody had photoshopped it years later, but it was quite fun. I'm sure that was that one.
Well, we can potentially get into that a bit later.
I didn't realize that this Thunderbird is actually a big boy.
Yeah. So the Thunderbird apparently creates thunder just by flapping its wings, and the lightning is caused by flashing its eyes.
Really?
And they're depicted as being birds of prey. So in Canada, they tend to just be these big birds. But depending on the tribe and depending on the group of Native Americans, depends on the different myths. And it's typically from the north. So it's mainly Canadian, but does go into the north of USA.
Okay.
So several different tribes around North America do have the myth of the Thunderbird. It is also seen around the Pacific Northwest, the East Coast, the Great Lakes, the Great Plains, but mainly in Canada. And some of them can be depicted as hybrids between humans and birds. They're seen as being protectors, and in some stories have intervened on people's behalves to help them.
Does it
And
say
the
how? Have you got any stories there about that? And what sort of intervening do they do?
we have got some stories, and we'll get to how they do that in a moment. Because the most common story, which is the one that I found, which is what got me onto the Thunderbird, is I saw a thing that said about the story of the Thunderbird and the whale.
So I
And
said it's a big boy.
I will admit, when I saw the Thunderbird and the whale, what went through my head is I don't remember that episode of the Thunderbirds.
And then you looked into it.
Then I looked into it and found the story that we're talking about today. So one of the stories of the Thunderbird is the Thunderbird and the whale. Now, one version of the story is whale was a monster, killing other whales and depriving the tribe of meat and oil. The Thunderbird, which is a benevolent supernatural being, saw from its high home in the mountains that the people were starving. It soared out over the coastal waters, plunged into the ocean, and seized whale. A struggle ensued. The ocean receded and rose again. Many canoes were flung into trees, and people were killed. Thunderbird eventually succeeded in lifting whale out of the ocean, carrying it high into the air and dropping it. Then another great battle occurred on the land.
With the whale?
Yeah, the whale and Thunderbird.
On land?
Yeah, and that's how the Thunderbird won.
Well, yeah, because it, died because it wasn't in water. Best way to kill a whale, just take it and dump it on the land.
Yep.
But it dropped it, didn't it? Just explode when it hit the ground. That's why I was imagining you were going to say he flew, dropped the whale, hit the ground, splat. Everybody had meat for weeks.
Meat shower.
That's meat shower.
That's where the Kentucky meat shower is from. There we go.
Thunderbird and whale.
Now, that version of the story, it did explode and the meat did go everywhere. Another story is after the whale was killed, during the battle, some trees had become uprooted and no tree ever grew back in that area again. That's another story. It's another ending of it.
I mean, considering this Thunderbird is supposed to be pretty benevolent, he keeps messing things up. I mean, for a start, in the first one, you said a load of people died. And then in this one here, they can't grow trees anymore. Yeah, somebody else had a whale drop on their head. Guaranteed somebody would have, had that land on it.
Apparently, the Olympic Peninsula prairies were caused by this because the whale kept going back into the ocean. The Thunderbird kept bringing it up, and during all of this, it caused the prairies to be a thing.
Some scholars link the story about the Thunderbird and the whale to a major earthquake and tsunami in 1700. So they think it might have been caused by that. Oh, it's not caused by that, but that's where the legend came from, after a tsunami and thunder and an earthquake.
That would make sense.
Yeah, but it doesn't explain the meat shower or the trees not growing.
So there's another version here from Vancouver Island that there was a young boy fascinated by the sound of thunder and heard it from somewhere across the land. When he crossed to that point, following the sound of thunder, he watched the Thunderbird grabbing and dropping the whale. The Thunderbird saw the boy and told him that the story was now his and he had the right to wear the Thunderbird mask and wings.
But there was no other witnesses. He just turned up and said, I can wear the mask. The Thunderbird told me.
Yep.
And look, I've got my favourite wings on.
Wear it.
Yeah, no one saw it. And if you question me, I'll give him a drop of whale on you. Because I saw it. Did you like my Native American accent then?
I did.
I put a lot of effort into that.
You're getting better at your accents.
I am. Thank you. So that's just with whale. But also, it's not a lot of whale. It's just one whale.
Just one whale.
Just called whale.
Yep. Just one whale.
That's
called whale.
Because it doesn't say lifted a whale. It just says lifted whale.
Yep.
Then dropped
just
it.
Lifted whale.
Just sounds like something from SpongeBob. I don't know why. It just seems so random.
So that's one of the many stories of it. Now, as I told you that if they flap their wings, they create thunder and
It's
lightning flashes.
When I do this, or even when I walk quite fast, my trousers rub together and they cause lightning. Definitely.
I told you about how lightning comes out their eyes. Now, the other thing that they do is when they shake, water falls off their backs, and that's where the rain comes from.
Oh my God.
That's why the rain comes down like it does, because it's coming off their back when they shake.
Well, is that just in North America or is that everywhere? Because it hasn't stopped raining here in 3 months and I haven't seen a Thunderbird anywhere. I guess somewhere where it doesn't rain very often, you got to explain it. But here, God, I
Yeah.
wish it would stop raining. Oh. I like these stories. There's all these legends, but they all sound like episodes of Godzilla. Thunderbird versus the underwater panther. Thunderbird versus whale.
Well, it's interesting you say about the battles, because in one other story, this story starts with two Native Americans traveling north to discover exactly where thunder comes from. They encountered a very tall mountain with darting clefts closing in on each other rather quickly. One of them, named Passamaquoddies, what a name, Passamaquoddies.
You know where that comes from, don't you? I can tell you, well, not comes from, but I can tell you where that's in popular culture. Not popular, it probably was popular culture on time. Have you ever seen Pete's Dragon, the Disney live action animated film? Not the most recent CG one,
He's
live
a
action CG, the remake. It's got Jim Dale.
big
the
green with a yellow
Yeah.
belly.
Yeah, with a pink bit of hair at the top.
Yes.
I think called Elliot.
Yes.
So Peter's the boy, Elliot is the dragon. But Jim Dale, he sings a song and he sings about Passamaquoddy. But it's a place, apparently.
Yes, well, that's the interesting thing, because it's also a tribe.
So that's where it comes from. Do you know what? We may be able to put a couple of seconds because I love that song, Passamaquoddy. God. Every little piece. I'm going to show my age here because no one listening to this guaranteed has ever seen Pete's Dragon, the Disney. Just cut it all out, Dan. Honestly, no one's going to know it.
Yeah, so it's a tribe, but in this particular story, Passamaquoddy is one person.
Okay.
And told the other to continue looking for the place thunder comes from if he didn't survive the cleft. Passamaquoddy passed over the cleft without a problem, but his friend did not. He continued on his way looking for the origin of thunder and found a group of Native Americans playing a ball game. The group, startled, ran into their wigwams. Now, this is where this source that I'm reading says wigwams. I'm guessing wigwams were allowed to say wigwams. I'm guessing that's okay.
Teepees? Two-piece?
I've just Googled and wigwam is the correct term.
Excellent. How about teepees?
So, yeah, teepee tents are fine, yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything we can't say? Because we can use that one instead. Teepees. Okay, wigwam.
So they ran into their wigwams and came out with wings, equipped with bows and arrows, and they flew south over the mountain. Passamaquoddy believed he found the Thunderbirds' home. He confronted the elders in the camp for help. They discussed how they may help and did so by placing Passamaquoddy's in a giant mortar, crushing his bones into the shape of a Thunderbird, after which he was given wings, a bow, and arrows.
So they've mushed him up.
Yeah.
Then gave him wings.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting story. Okay. First thing that shot into my head when you said they all just came out, grabbed whatever they grabbed from their wigwams and flew away with their wings. I just had flashbacks to Flash Gordon with Brian Blessed and all his bird people. So that's what I was seeing there in my head. But why would you? Okay, I'll make you this, but I've got to kill you, crush your bones, form you into a bird, then you can fly.
Oh.
It's so funny. I love these things.
So, as well as that, and the two beasts and the fight with the whale, which caused the destruction, and the fact that they are powerful beings with the whole creating thunder and lightning and rain, they will sometimes help tribes searching for food. But I can't actually find any full stories about that. Just apparently they do. That's just a thing that they sometimes do.
I did also find out that you can actually make them happy by offering them tobacco and cigarettes. Funny enough, like everything else, you can make friends with them. Like everything else, every other episode, as long as you give them tobacco and cigarettes, tobacco and alcohol, you're fine.
So there's a type of igneous rock known as thunderstone, and in some legends, they're known to be the eggs of the Thunderbird. So not only are the Thunderstones, prehistoric hand axe and fossils, they are also the eggs of the Thunderbird.
Okay. So are these stones any particular shape? I mean, are they smooth and round or are they jagged? Because I'd love to see how jagged, if they were just like a standard jagged rock and thinking that poor Thunderbird, that's where the thunder came from, because I'd have passed that thing out of its hole.
So the name comes from the fact that the ancient people believed that the object was found after lightning had struck, which is what caused them to look like they do.
You have to show me a picture so we can put it on the site, so I can have a look at that.
Steve, you're at a computer.
I can't be bothered, Dan. I honestly can't be bothered. How about this one, right? I haven't got very much information on this one, but a Thunderbird stole a boy, and the boy's name was Ho Chunk.
Ho Chunk?
Yep. Don't know anything about it, but just Ho Chunk is the name of the boy, so that's good. But, okay, so basically it's just a hero's tale where the child is taken to the Thunderbird's realm and must escape. That's all I have on it, but the kid's name is Ho Chunk. Overweight prostitute.
Well, did you know Thunderbirds were still around as recently as 1977? Really?
Well, as in a legend, as in a mythical spiritual beast, or as a real thing?
Well, I'll tell you the story. In 1977, in Lawndale, Illinois, a Thunderbird attack was reported by two unidentified birds on a young boy. It was on 25th of July, 1977. 10-year-old Marlon Lowe was playing outside when he was suddenly attacked by two large birds, one of which temporarily picked him up and carried him 30 feet before Marlon's mother, Ruth Lowe, ran to her son's rescue, chasing the birds away and then recovering her traumatized son. Reportedly, several eyewitnesses saw the attack take place. The birds were described as having a white ring around their necks, a 4.5-foot body, with each wing about 4 foot long. It had a 6-inch hooked bill, 3 front claws, 1 back claw, and a large black body.
Sounds like a vulture of some kind, doesn't it?
I was going to say,
an eagle.
Sounds very much like a vulture or an eagle.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like it could get lightning out of his eyes and thunder out of its ass, whatever it was. Doesn't sound that big, and they're not going to produce much rain from it. So basically, it was attacked by a big bird.
Attacked by a big bird.
Do you know what, though? If you'd have described the big bird as he was about 7 foot tall, yellow, big yellow beak, kept trying to get people to spell things. Walked around with a friendly mammoth.
And Elmo. My favourite clip of Elmo is Elmo with Robin Williams and all the outtakes. Yeah.
Well, anything with Robin Williams.
Yeah. Sorry, you were about to say.
Yeah, I was going to say there was another site, and I don't have any more details on this. But apparently witnesses saw an enormous shadow cross in the sky. There were sudden storms, unexplained booming noises, and some witnesses described seeing a bird the size of a small aircraft, while others described a presence that felt ancient, watchful, and very much in charge. So they had a feeling. So some people saw funny enough, a bird the size of a plane flying in the sky, which potentially could have been a plane. This.
Well, in 1890, 2 Arizona cowboys claimed to have shot and killed a large bird. It was described as having no feathers and had a head similar to that of an alligator. The men dragged the bird back into town after killing it. The report suggested that the creature looked more like a pterodactyl or a dragon than any modern-day bird.
Now, does this one go with that picture I was talking about? There was that one that looked like it was from that era, and it was basically a group of men standing around what was a pterodactyl, basically.
Yes.
Is that the picture that comes with it?
Yes.
Yes. Really good Photoshop.
Now, people think that Thunderbirds could be modern-day pterodactyls. However, this is unlikely since no flying bird bigger than an albatross or an Andean condor has been discovered in recent times. Pterosaurs are suspects in Thunderbird sightings, but seems far-fetched as pterosaurs would have been long extinct, around 66 million years ago. Some exotic non-native birds, like the African crowned eagles and Andean condors, possibly escaping from captivity, may have played a role in the Thunderbird sightings, with African crowned eagles said to have caused so-called Thunderbird attacks, and Andean condors being mistaken for the larger mythical Thunderbird at first glance. Thunderbird sightings could be hoaxes by pranksters or cryptid enthusiasts mistaking them for actual, genuine, real birds.
I mean, it's more likely that it's going to be just a big bird that's flown in from, because birds fly a long way, as we find out from the birds in this country that fly across the world. So we know that they can fly. So why couldn't an Andean vulture, whatever, or eagle, land in North America, try to kidnap a small boy called Ho Chunk, or whatever the other one was called? Which year was that one you were talking about? The Cowboys. What year was that one?
1890, Arizona.
Okay. So Tombstone's Arizona, isn't it? Yeah. So I've got the newspaper here publishing the Tombstone epitaph on the 26th of April, 1890. Two ranchers shot a giant ring creature. That's it. Found it here. 92 foot long. This one says 160 foot wingspan. Smooth skin, no feathers, 2 legs, huge teeth, eyes like dinner plates. Yeah. Apparently they cut a piece of the wing and planned to take it into town, but didn't. So not only did they didn't even take the bit of the wing they thought they were going to take. No photographs printed in the article, and no follow-up story ever appeared. So it appeared in there as one story in 1890. Apparently, Tombstone in 1890 was struggling. It was desperate for attention after its mines got flooded. So they're suspecting that because a lot of the newspapers of that era did print sensational tales just to entertain readers. So they think it could have been that, just to try to get people in. It was only mentioned once, never mentioned again. No photographs, but the writer Jack Pearl claimed the photo existed that had been printed in 1886. Of course, he was wrong because it was 1890. There was no existence of any photograph, and there was no proper details. But then the fake photos started turning up, so people started using Photoshop. And I've actually seen a picture, and it shows the group of men standing by the dead bird, which definitely is not 100 foot. It's just like a big bird. But it's actually, they've used the background of a load of cowboys standing around a couple of criminals who'd been shot. That was the original photograph. They've just taken the criminals out and put in a dead bird where the criminals were. So they did use a genuine picture from the day, but just photoshopped in a bird and took out the dead bodies. And this is the thing we're talking about all the time, is that so many of these things, modern days, like Tombstone, needed to make some money. The haunted pubs, need to make some money. Jamaica Inn, it's only there to make money, so you make up all these stories to go with it.
Yeah.
But obviously that's with that real life sighting.
I've found a couple of more stories about the Thunderbird. So the Algonquian people, who are around the northeast Canada and around the Great Lakes, they believed that the Thunderbird ruled over the upper world and was there to protect them against the creatures of the underworld, such as the underwater panther or the great horned serpent.
Sorry, is it the panther or the serpent? Which one? Not both of them.
Both. So
the panther and the serpent, yeah.
Yeah, so the underwater panther and the great horned serpent ruled over the underworld, and the Thunderbird ruled over the upper world and protected the people from the underwater panther and the great horned serpent.
Well, the main thing that people had to do to protect themselves from the underwater panther and the great horned serpent is just don't go in the water.
Yep.
That would have been quite simple. But they were too busy just picking up whales and dropping them. So I'm assuming, though, these tribes all lived around the coast. So it does sound like they're all very water-based, aren't they? Air and water-based.
Yes. One story from another tribe suggests Thunderbirds were created by the Nanabozo, which the Nanabozo was a trickster and some sort of god spirit, and it was, again, to fight evil spirits that lived underwater. And the Thunderbirds were also there to make sure that humans followed moral rules. They were believed to live in the 4 directions and would arrive with other birds in the spring. In the fall, they would fly south when the dangerous season for underwater spirits ended.
Seasonal spirits.
Yeah, most of it is water. I've also found Ho Chunk, So
Chunk.
Ho Chunk is actually a tribe
No, it says here it's a boy.
based around Wisconsin and Illinois. And where it comes into Ho Chunk, a man saw a thunderbird during a solitary fast and then becomes the war chief for the people.
They can make you war chief. Yeah, Thunderbirds can make you a war chief. Yeah, more modern sightings. Apparently, the most recent one was in 2014 in Arizona by Robert Martinez, who says he saw a 15 to 20-foot wingspan dark bird over his neighborhood. His report triggered others to come forwards with similar stories, but no photographic evidence, and 15 to 20 foot is just a big bird. That's not a thunderbird. They're missing details like thunder, lightning, and rain. These are just big birds.
Okay, so the story of the boy who befriended the Thunderbirds and the serpent. The summary is a young boy is mistreated by his family, and a Thunderbird swoops in and takes him away and becomes a companion of the Thunderbirds. They raise him, teach him medicine, and send him back to his people as a healer. Then a monstrous water serpent threatens the tribe. The boy uses the Thunderbird's power and his own courage to defeat it. However, he gets struck by the serpent's power, ends up becoming a water being himself, disappears into the river. People mourn him, but they also honor him as the hero who saved the tribe. And it's all because of the Thunderbirds giving him the power. That was worth it, wasn't it? It just says the Thunderbird power. Power of the Thunderbirds. Yeah, that story wasn't really worth it, was it? All that effort I put into getting it.
The thing about all these modern sightings, reading them, they all basically just describe large birds. Nothing as you would describe as being a thunderbird. It's like one of those things where you carrying the world on a tortoise's back. It's a really big animal.
Yeah.
But this one, everyone said, yeah, I saw a big bird. It's about the same size as an airplane. It was flying around just about the airport for some reason. We can say the modern ones are rubbish, but I think you need to talk about the totem poles.
Well, I was going to draw links to other cryptids, such as the Kongamato. And the Kongamato are large pterosaur-like cryptids that live in Africa, particularly around Zambia, the Congo, and Angola. Now, when you look into the Kongamato, they're described very similar as the Thunderbird. Funny enough, also near water. However, the Kongamato are known to flip over boats.
I guess there's not many bigger things flying around than if they're attacking. Boats would be out in the open, wouldn't they? So
yeah,
wouldn't be hidden.
So
having a bird attacking a boat, I thought more realistic to say a big fish was attacking a boat.
Yeah. We've also got the rock from the Middle East, which is described as being a colossal eagle or hawk-like bird of prey, which did take creatures into the sky, including people, and drop them in some of the stories.
They splat in the meat shower.
Well, they were very huge birds, apparently 48 foot in length, with feathers as large as a palm leaf. And apparently Marco Polo saw one. So that's another big bird. And there's also Ropen, which means demon flyer. And that's from Papua New Guinea.
See, I mean, that's the thing. These are cool sounding. I mean, obviously Thunderbird is really cool. We've got a TV series, we've got cars. But demon flyer, that sounds like a Stephen King story.
It does. So the Ropen has bioluminescence and can create light, which is like the Thunderbird creating lightning. And the light is to attract fish. So again, lives near the water.
Yeah, there's a lot, isn't there, of water and these birds.
And Papua New Guinea isn't too far if you think about ocean to USA and Canada. So assuming this mythological creature is real, the Ropen could indeed be the Thunderbird.
I mean, knowing how far birds can fly, literally across the planet, without any problems at all. If you're a big bird, if you get the right currents up there, you could just glide there in no time. You could travel anywhere. I was looking here that archaeologists have found petroglyphs of thunderbirds dating back 4,000 years.
Wow.
So they have been there a long time. But it's a hybrid of humans and birds. I guess the hybrid part, though, is what we see on the totems, isn't it? On the totem poles, because they're kind of like human-bird hybrids. because I've given a physical form to it. But I can't see how, even in the X-Files, they wouldn't have made a human-bird hybrid, because that's kind of weird. Actually, no, you're right. One moment about Flash Gordon, back to Brian Blessed. The Birdmen, they had wings. My boss says he went out to see Brian Blessed doing a live show, basically about his life, and at the end he ended up staying in the same hotel as Brian Blessed. There was something they had in common about cruelty to animals. No, sorry, no, protection of animals, not cruelty to animals. So they had that in common. They got chatting, but apparently you can't ask Brian Blessed to say. Well, he gets very annoyed if you ask him to shout "Gordon's alive." He won't do that, but he'll do everything else.
So I've now found what the Thunderbird on a totem pole represents.
Okay.
So a Thunderbird on a totem pole represents the fact that it's a powerful supernatural spirit. So therefore it is about having immense power, strength, protection, and nobility. It's to represent nature's raw power.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was, wasn't it? Especially in their legends. I mean, it's like, what's more destructive than rain, thunder, and lightning if you're outside in the middle of nowhere? It must have been terrifying to actually. But with all that destruction, the Thunderbird is always a positive character, apart from when he kidnapped Ho Chunk and dropped a whale on people.
Yeah, so the reason why it's at the top of a totem pole is to watch over the communities to protect the humans from the malevolent forces. So that goes back to the idea of it protecting the overworld compared to the underworld. It's also a symbol of the nature, bringing rain and storms, which is the benefits of water for the crops, and also talking about dangers of lightning and floods. Some people think it was a messenger of the creator, with feathers representing the past, the present, and the future. And there were different ways they could depict it. So if it had the outstretched wings, it was to show its massive size and that it was protecting them. Sometimes the whale is also depicted in its talons, symbolizing the strength and its role in battling underwater spirits. But that's only in some of the tribes, not all of the tribes.
So the Thunderbird legend itself goes across multiple different tribes. So they've all got the same story, but it does different things for different people.
Yeah, but mainly to do with weather and raw power of nature. I like how one of the questions that's suggested is the Thunderbird good or evil? And the answer is, Thunderbirds were strong, massive creatures, large enough to lift humans off the ground and carry them away.
The end.
That's it. That's the answer too. Is the Thunderbird good or evil? Yeah, I quite like that one.
So tell me about the underwater panther. So it looks like it was a Great Lakes, not the sea. So it was in, obviously, what, I guess it wasn't the sea.
Well, it's bodies of water.
And you can't get much greater than the Great Lakes, really.
So the underwater panther, or to give it its actual name, Mishipeshu, which means the Great Lynx. The Mishipeshu looks like a giant cat with the head and paws of a lynx, but the body is covered in scales. It has sharp dagger-like spikes along its back and tail. Many stories suggest that it lives on Michipicoten Island within Lake Superior. It is a very strong being, and it's the most powerful creature of the underworld. The panthers control all water animals, including snakes. Some legends mention whole groups of the water lynx. Some experts think that the underwater panthers were a big part of the southeastern ceremonial complex. This was a culture in the prehistoric American Southeast. It is seen as the opposite of the Thunderbird. Thunderbirds control the powers of the air. Underwater panthers and Thunderbirds are believed to be in a never-ending fight, but they also balance each other out. In some legends, the underwater panther has horns like a deer. They're said to go into the deepest parts of the lakes and rivers and can cause big storms. They're seen as dangerous beasts that can bring death and bad luck. People make offerings to them to travel safely across a lake.
Cucumbers?
I know, but that would be good though, wouldn't it?
Imagine sailing across on a giant cucumber.
In the 1950s, the Prairie Band of Potawatomi Native Americans held a ceremony. This was to calm the underwater panther and keep balance with the Thunderbird. Apparently, they also casually guard large amounts of copper.
That's quite random.
To the point where, in the 1850s, a researcher visited the US. He met a chief from the Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. The chief showed him a piece of copper from his medicine bag and said that it was a strand of hair from the Mishipeshu and that it was extremely powerful. So the whole thing about copper is 4 people went to the home to get copper. They wanted to use it to heat water. The moment they pushed their canoe in the water, they heard the water panther's voice. The panther chased them, growling. It accused them of stealing its children's toys, which is the copper. All 4 people died on their way back to the village. Yeah. So the underwater panther is just casually in a battle, so representing the water, I suppose. And the horned serpent is linked to water, rain, lightning, and thunder. And they live in the woods and the Great Lakes.
So apparently the Cherokee have one. They have the true lynx. I don't know if you've seen that in their myths. The true lynx. It's very similar to the Algonquin legend, but their one is a giant bobcat with a long tail and a human face.
Oh wow!
That lives in the water. But a giant bobcat with a human face that lives in water and fights a bird.
I mean, it's quite cool that the Thunderbird and all of these have been seen in many different depictions. Like, there's loads of cave art of them, and the fact that these stories are still going strong.
Was there a giant? What's it called? The plains where they've got those giant drawings of what are they called? I forgot what the place is called now.
But
it's that place in South America, I think it is, and you can see these huge drawings that stretch for miles on the ground, but I'm sure one of them's a Thunderbird. Naga Valley, something like that.
I'm not sure.
The NASCAR lines in Peru, that's it, NASCAR. There is, it's a condor, okay, so it's not a Thunderbird.
But people did think that the Thunderbird could be a condor.
Yeah, so geoliths that were carved into the desert floor, they're created by removing the top layer of dark stone to reveal the lighter soil beneath it. Some of these stretch up to 370 meters long. There is a monkey, a hummingbird, a spider, a condor, a whale, and a human-like figure with geometric shapes. You can only really see it from the air, and they date from 500 BCE to 500 CE. They're created by the Nazca and earlier Paracas cultures. And even today, new geoglyphs are still being discovered using drones and satellite imagery.
How do they know it's a condor and not a Thunderbird?
I don't know, because it doesn't have a whale attached to it. But there is a whale, though.
Oh, there we go.
How did they draw these things in the ground?
A Thunderbird helped
long
them.
Ago. Well, you'd have to have something like that. You could actually view it from the air.
A Thunderbird picked up a person and held it in the air, and they shouted down the instructions in which direction to go.
And then they dropped it.
Yeah.
As a full stop.
Oh, I've just found some more stories.
Oh, these good ones.
So, I said about Marlon Lowe, the 10-year-old in Illinois. Well, other abduction stories include that of a girl named Svanhild Hansen, who in June 1932 was carried away by a huge eagle from her parents' farm in Leka, Norway. The giant bird carried her for more than a mile, the report said, after which it dropped her unharmed on a tall mountain ledge. In 1838, a 5-year-old girl was snatched from the slope of the Swiss Alps, where she was playing, by an eagle that carried the child to its nest. The girl did not survive the ordeal, and her badly mutilated body was discovered some 2 months later by a shepherd. The eagle's nest was then later found, which was said to contain several eaglets surrounding heaps of goat and sheep bones.
Whoa.
And apparently, those two stories have been attributed to potential thunderbirds or other large birds.
I mean, like I think we spoke about it before, that crow, whatever it was, or raven, what was it? Crow? What sort of bird was it? There was attacking bald-headed men in that village, and it just kept attacking them. Was it a magpie or something? I can't remember what it was. And that it was just in the news recently, and they ended up catching it, and they trained it now not to attack people anymore. But it was only attacking bald-headed men. It had been interviewed on TV, then a bird attacked him whilst he was being interviewed live, and there was just like blood pouring down his head from this bird attack.
Isn't it crows that have a good memory to the point where
Crows.
if you
Yeah.
try and attack a crow, it remembers and it will teach other crows to hate you?
My dad had a story, and I've seen the photographs over years. When he was a kid, every year they went on holiday to the same place. And one year he found this crow and gave it some food, and it kept coming back every day for the week, and he kept feeding this crow. The next year he came back, the crow was waiting for him and sat on his shoulder and went round with him the whole time. And it happened for like 2 more years on top of that. The crow waited for him and was his friend. Literally. I've seen pictures of my dad as a kid with this crow.
I do believe you, because there is a lady that I've seen on social media who has trained a crow, and there's this crow that will bring her things, random stuff that it's found, like a button or something, sometimes even coins, and it will leave it on her windowsill and wait for her to give it food. So it actually pays her for food. I've also found some other sightings of thunderbirds in America.
Okay.
So January 2018, a woman in Alaska was driving home. She saw a gigantic bird with a wingspan nearly as wide as the road flying overhead. Pennsylvania, 26th of May 2013, two friends were walking through the woods near Bryn Athyn Castle and were startled by something extraordinary, described as being an extremely loud noise from above. When they glanced up, they saw a huge black bird. It was sitting above us, and they seemed to startle it. It flew about 100 feet to a nearby branch. They noticed that the wingspan must have been at least 10 feet, and judging how far it was, looked to be around 4 foot tall. September 25th, 2001, a 19-year-old saw an enormous winged creature flying over Route 119 in South Greensburg, Pennsylvania. The witness's attention was drawn to the sky by a sound that resembled flags flapping in a thunderstorm. Looking up, the witness saw what appeared to be a thunderbird that had the wingspan of estimated 10 to 15 foot and a head about 3 feet long. So there's some modern sightings of it.
Yeah. But do you know what? I think looking at the internet, thunderbirds are the least of our worries as far as bird attacks. 1926, a 16-year-old kid was killed by a cassowary in Australia. He apparently got too close to this bird, who then kicked him in the stomach with his claw, ripped open his stomach, and he died there pretty much on the spot.
Wow.
And apparently ostrich killings, there's too many to even mention how many people get killed by being kicked by ostriches. So, yeah, they're very dangerous birds, which kill many, many people. Mongolia, there's been reports of eagles carrying small children off all the time. Apparently none successfully. They've always managed to get the kids back, but they're often doing it. North America, 2004, British Columbia, an eagle grabbed a toddler's jacket and dragged them off into the air. Crazy. And cyclists been knocked off bikes by birds. Somebody got hit by a car because he was knocked off his bike by a magpie. Vultures attacked a paraglider in Spain in 2007. He suffered a near fatal fall. He took down the paraglider. This is how good that was. That's really cool. And of course, in Australia, they went to war against the emus, which is a terrible. I saw the film the other day, and it's a terrible film.
And the emus won.
The emus won, absolutely. There's a playwright. This playwright was killed when a vulture dropped a tortoise on his bald head. He mistook his head for a rock. There we go. So he didn't try. He dropped a tortoise on the playwright, trying to break open the tortoise's shell on a rock. A man in Chicago in 2012 was drowned by a swan. He was on a boat. The swan capsized him and then prevented him from surfacing, so he drowned. And a man died in Cornwall after being attacked by a seagull in 2000. He had a heart attack. So yeah, there's pretty deadly birds out there. Even before he started looking into Thunderbirds.
I can't get past that one you said about the bald man having the turtle dropped in
Yeah,
his head.
now that's cool.
But anyway, historian Tom Holland, he thinks, and his theory around the Thunderbird is that it originates to Native Americans discovering pterosaur fossils.
It could well have been, yeah.
Because pterosaur fossils would have been found around that area of the world. Yep. So he thinks that all of this Thunderbird mythology comes from the fact they found some pterosaur fossils, and the best way to explain what these huge weird bird things were to make this whole story about a bird that flies over and creates thunder and lightning and rain. I mean, it feels quite plausible.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, isn't that how dragons came about? Even though, nobody officially found a fossil until like the 1900s or the 1800s. But fossils must account for so many legends.
Yeah.
So many myths. They really have to.
So I started this off with saying about the Thunderbirds getting their name from the Thunderbird in a roundabout way. So the name Thunderbird has gone on to several things. There's several X-Men characters called Thunderbird. The Ford Thunderbird was named after the legends of the Thunderbird. The Douglas World Cruiser aircraft was nicknamed the Thunderbird in 1925 when they were creating them. There's a roller coaster in Indiana called the Thunderbird. Mozilla Thunderbird has the depiction of a Thunderbird in its icon and is obviously also named after it. The Thunderbird is the cap, badge and symbol of the Canadian military police. I like that one.
Oh, okay.
I like the fact that the military police are just like, yeah, we're going to have a Thunderbird in our logo. And they do. It also says Securitas in the badge. And then there's various sports teams.
And there's also the Thunderbird alcoholic drink, which I used to get drunk on every so often, and I'm still haunted by the flavour. Horrible.
The Yellow Ranger in Power Rangers Mystic Force, the helmet design and motive was based on a Thunderbird as well.
I didn't even realise they had motives. Motifs.
That's it, motifs. That's what I mean. Motif. That's what I mean.
His motive was just to kick people in the head. That's his motive. And to get close to the pink Power Ranger.
This was Mystic Force. Mystic Force was much later.
Well, no pink Power Ranger. What's the point? I've never seen Power Rangers. Actually, no. That's I saw the Power Ranger movie. I saw the Power Ranger movie. That was good fun at the cinema.
Okay, they did have a Pink Ranger, but it's not my Pink Ranger. One of my first crushes growing up was Amy Jo Johnson, who was the Pink Power Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I thought you were going to say your first crush was Henry Lee Lucas.
So that's all we know about Thunderbirds. Thank you for listening to this episode of Boo Foons Mystery Investigators. I've been Dan. He's been Steve. Do check out our Patreon for bonus content. Do give our socials a bit of love. Remember to check out our website for lots of extra material, all composed by Steve and put together by Steve. And you can find links to our Discord server where you can join us over there and have a chat with us. Keep us company. Be back Saturday for some madness. Back on Wednesday for another mystery.
Love you.
Boo Foons, mystery investigators.
Da, 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 da.